You're listening to This Magical Life, a podcast dedicated to exploring the depths of spirituality and personal growth. I'm Philip Carr-Gomm. Hello. It's lovely to have you here. Welcome if you're watching the recording. Do make yourself comfortable. Let's really appreciate and enjoy the magic of the fact that we can all do this. We can all gather around into this circle. And although physically we might be located in different places, at some subtle, deep level, we're all together in this circle. So as you settle in, notice first of all whether are you choosing a log? Is there a convenient log to sit on? Or is it a stone? Or are you going straight onto the earth? Or maybe you prefer to stand up or lie down. You're the card of the Tawny Owl in the Animal Oracle. And let me read you what it says about that. The card shows a tawny owl in an oak tree covered in ivy. A full moon shines beneath the winter bare branches of the tree. Hung on the tree are votive offerings to the Cailleach, the crone or hag goddess, and of a Celtic head and the spiral of death and rebirth. And then the spiral of death and rebirth on the side there. Upright meaning, Cailleach Oche, teaches us the wisdom of turning a disadvantage into an advantage. For most birds, the coming of darkness renders it impossible for them to feed, but the owl's exceptional hearing enables it to pick out and swoop on unsuspecting prey during the night. Twilight has been described as owl light, and going for a quiet walk in the woods at this shimmering time of twilight is an excellent way to develop a sensibility to the other world and the inner soul of nature. You may feel drawn to a study of esoteric lore or clairvoyance. Working with the owl as your ally will help you to do this. So we've got two ideas there. One is about how the owl is symbolic of secret lore, of hidden lore, because the owl is a liminal bird. It flies in the night. It suggests this connection with the other world. And of course, those of us who are interested in Druidry, the Druid tradition, the old ways, are by nature interested in esoteric teachings and secret lore. And it also points to this idea of turning a disadvantage into an advantage. And that's a very interesting activity to engage in, is thinking about whatever disadvantage you might have in your life, and then seeing if there's any way in which it could secretly be holding an advantage for you. Just tune in for a moment and just don't overthink it. Just see if is there something that you perceive as a disadvantage that just might have an advantage hidden in it. And just hold on to that and see if it may not come to you straight away. It might. So that idea it's not necessarily, an answer may not necessarily come to you straight away, but it's really worth considering. Let me give you an example in Druidry of how I understood a disadvantage in Druidry to be an actual advantage. And it goes like this. In studying the Druid tradition, you come across this problem, which is that it was an oral tradition originally. And then by about the 6th, 7th century CE, AD, Druidry was totally subsumed and either repressed or taken over in some way by Christianity. So we then had 1,000 years of where Druid tradition was in many ways annihilated or forgotten. Although, strangely enough, the bardic schools carried on up until the 17th century in Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. So traces remain, and there's ways in which you can dive down into the history and make deductions and so on. But one of the difficulties is that a lot of the tradition has been lost. And then about 300 years ago, people started to look back on their ancestry and try to reconstruct Druidry again. That seems to be a massive disadvantage, and we can look across to spiritual traditions around the world that seem to have continuity and feel very envious and feel they have an advantage over Druidry. But one day when I was meditating on this, suddenly everything got turned around and I realized what an advantage that is. That Druidry, despite being anchored way back in the past, actually is free of thousands of years of commentary and commentary on commentary and dogma and the story that occurs when something is very ancient and is continuously accessible. And we all know the problems that exist in the Abrahamic traditions with this, and indeed in the Dharmic traditions too, of interpretations and so on. And the other day I learned that there are 30,000 Christian denominations in the world. That seems an extraordinary figure. I didn't believe it, but I checked it. 30. In the UK alone, there are 300 different denominations in Christianity. So what this means for Druidry is that we have the bare bones, if you like, the drops of inspiration. We don't have buckets of it. And there's an advantage in that. It's left a space to be filled by Arwens. There's space, there's this delicious openness in the tradition, and then various key ideas that we can trace back way back into the past, like Arwen, for instance. If you understand time in a different way, if you have a spiritual approach to time, you know that the linear sense of time is in many ways a human construction. If we really believe that the source at the heart of life is deity, is love, is the center of all being, and that from that center, from the source, life flows out and radiates out, eventually becoming manifestation, physical worlds and us as individuals and so on. But if we were to follow each object in the universe and each person in the universe back to their source, we'd arrive at the same point, which is God, goddess, deity, the one source. If that's the case, then Druidry comes from this place too. And it emanates from the one source which is beyond time and beyond space, in the world of infinity and eternity. And then it manifests in the physical world at certain points in time, manifested way back thousands of years ago. It's manifesting now, and we can somehow connect with it. And really, it's a living tradition. It's not something in a glass case. It's not something that is just in the past that we can look at objectively. It's a living tradition beyond time and space. And that's the other thing as well about a tradition that has, where it's recorded for thousands of years, and there's lots of knowing, there's lots of knowledge in it. Trouble with that is that you constantly have to try and fill yourself with that knowledge. It's common when you first come to any tradition that you want to learn and grow and absorb as much of the knowledge that is available as possible. But maybe it's an actual advantage that the amount of definitive knowledge about Druidry is quite limited. I've been writing recently about psychosynthesis for a course that I'm developing. And Roberto Assagioli, the Italian psychiatrist who developed it, talks about psychosynthesis having this incredibly broad reach, that it encompasses everything and it's really just a point of view, just a perspective and so on. And somebody asked him in an interview, what are the limitations of psychosynthesis? And he said, one of the limitations is its lack of limitations. He admitted that it was a problem that it was so open. And perhaps we have to say that about Druidry as well, is that it's extremely open. When I interviewed Ronald Hutton, the history professor Ronald Hutton, for the Druid Hearth, I joked with him about how if he and I converted to another religion and walked off into the sunset, what would happen? And he said we wouldn't need to walk off into the sunset because Druidry has such a broad embrace that we could still stay within Druidry. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge worth sitting with, and worth sitting with the frustration that comes with it. A parallel that comes to me when you're with somebody, or in relationship too, perhaps, where the words fail you or aren't available to you, don't come to you, and you're with another person and you look at them and there's nothing to say, and it's kind of embarrassing, but if you can stay with it, there's a real potential for magic there, that in allowing the discomfort, if you like, the frustration of not having anything to hold on to, nothing to say, nothing to think, no clear chunk of understanding or knowledge to communicate. But if you can stay with it, often, not always, but often, that moment of not knowing and of allowing the frustration of space and emptiness, something will come in. Something will come in. If we can still ourselves enough, into the sacred grove can come inspiration. You know the old saying, a wise old owl sat in an oak. The more he heard, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why aren't we all like that wise old bird? So let's go into the sacred grove now and be wise old birds. If you feel you'd like to have a meditation, just lower your gaze or soften your gaze or close your eyes. Becoming aware of your position facing your screen, sensing the walls around you, the floor beneath you and the ceiling above you. And as you do this, as you feel fully present here and now, just gently allow that awareness to fade and to allow instead an awareness of being in the sacred grove. You might be just arriving in the forest clearing, or you may find yourself already there on a mossy log or mossy stone, sitting on the ground or standing, leaning against a tree. Just get comfortable in this clearing, tuning in and opening yourself to the smell of the woods and of the earth beneath you. Take in a slow, deep breath. Hold for a moment, and then breathe out fully and deeply. Sense the earth beneath you now, and it's as if you can sense a whole area of earth beneath you, with creatures moving around in the earth, the rocks, the soil, the moisture. And you feel the energy of the earth flowing up into you, just as the energy of the earth, the moisture of the earth flows up the trunk of the trees around you. And you become aware of these trees now, these brothers and sisters standing here with us, our guides and protectors. We sense their presence and their power. And you become aware of the branches high above and the leaves, and the sky even higher up, and you breathe in the sky, you breathe in the energy of the sky, and it flows into your being, the energy of the sky meeting the energy of the earth within the center of yourself. And just allow a bird, it might be an owl, or it might be a different bird, sensing it flying down to a branch just a little distance away from you, and the bird gazing at you, inviting you in your spirit and your imagination to be with her or him. Taking off now and flying a little around the woods, around the clearing. And just as the bird settles once again on the branch, just being open to the gift this bird brings you in this moment. No thought, just openness, just being with the bird. And the bird may be bringing a message that's conveyed in a word or words. It might even be just one word, or it may be conveyed in their song, or just in a feeling, a quality of feeling. And do you thank the bird for this gift? The bird either stays or it flies off now. Then your attention moves to the circle, a small fire burning in the center of our circle, becoming aware now of the community around you, fellow souls gathered together. And if it feels okay, you just let your hands drift out to either side of you. You take the hand of the person to the left and the right of you. And you notice how you feel completely self-contained, completely unique in yourself. And yet at the same time, you feel one with the circle. May the peace in this circle spread throughout the world. May there be peace on earth. May all life be blessed. May the trees and the forests be protected. May the animals and birds be protected. May the rivers run clean. May the air be purified. May the souls of all beings seek only the good. You squeeze the hand left and right of you. Gently let them go and imagine that your hands are now pressed against the earth, your palms on the earth. Feel the earth beneath you. May the earth be blessed. May the land be blessed. And then you bring your hands up to your heart and you feel the warmth from your hands flowing into your heart. May my heart radiate joy and love to all beings. And as you feel the warmth flowing into your heart from your hands, you become more and more aware of your physical body. And as you become more aware of your physical body, your awareness of the sacred grove begins to fade. As you become aware of being seated in front of your screen, the walls around you, the floor beneath you, and the ceiling above you. You take in a deep breath, hold for a moment, and breathe out fully and deeply. You stretch your fingers and toes, and when you feel ready, you open your eyes. Well, bless you. I hope you enjoyed that meditation. The lovely thing about meditations when you meditate with animals or with plants is that if you do it quite often, you find that sometimes one word might come to you, just an idea, or it's just a feeling that sometimes very subtly you can't put into words. It's just a particular quality. And I love that idea of it being a medicine. It's being that comes from a Native American tradition, with this idea of it bringing in an essence that just touches your soul and helps to open your heart. So have a lovely week and much love and many blessings. Okay, bye. Stay connected and join us again soon for more magical insights.